Hi guys, welcome to another edition of Technique Talk Tuesday. In this edition we're talking about vocal hemorrhage. This past spring I had several referrals from clients who experienced a hemorrhage after a performance. So I want to give the studio a general sense of what a hemorrhage is, how to prevent one, and what the situation looks like if, God forbid, you do experience one. So what is a hemorrhage? A hemorrhage is essentially bleeding into the vocal folds that occurs after an acute or sudden injury. Now that acute onset might be from speaking loudly at a birthday party, or screaming at a football game, or going ahead with a performance when you're sick and shouldn't be singing in the first place. So how can you tell if you have one? Well, that's tough because you won't often experience pain in the larynx when a person experiences a hemorrhage. So you want to have certain diagnostic measures in your speaking and singing voice so you can tell on a daily basis what your voice is typically like, and also get a sense of what are potential warning signs. A good one to use is a siren or an NG glide across your entire range. So you want to know what your range feels like from low to high, where any little breaks are, if there's any breathiness in the sound, and how high you can typically go on a daily basis. If you know that you are losing more than a third and it comes on out of nowhere, that might be a sign that you have an acute injury. Certainly if there's any overt speaking voice changes, that there's sudden onset of hoarseness or breathiness or effort in getting clear voicing, that also might be another sign that you'd want to see the ENT. Now, how can you prevent one? Well, you can do certain things to avoid injury to the larynx. One would be to watch taking any sort of anticoagulants or medications that might increase your ability to bleed. So you want to check with any of your medications that you're on to see if there are anticoagulants. Second is you want to avoid singing heavily around your period. That's often when women will hemorrhage, is when there's any sort of swelling naturally in the body and then singing on top of that. That's often when a hemorrhage will occur. And third is singing on top of any sort of the cold. If you want to, you really want to take your time and be easy on the voice. So you want to know how to sing when you're sick. That's why I often encourage clients to come in when they're sick, so I can help them learn how to negotiate a performance where they don't exactly have to call out, but they still need to learn how to take it easy and give a real performance. And finally, the fourth one is to watch any super loud talking. You want to watch that you're not screaming at games or talking really loudly at bars, and many of my clients have to work in those situations where they're speaking loudly. So you want to develop resonant voice skills in your speaking voice so you know how to project over a crowd without screaming. Now, God forbid it does happen, what does it look like? After going to the ENT, one of three things will happen. Often, immediately, voice rest will be recommended, total voice rest, to allow the blood to be absorbed. And then after that, there's a fork in the road, either to pursue voice therapy or surgery. And that's a decision that you can make with your doctor. Surgery is not always indicated. Sometimes the hemorrhage resolves, and we do voice therapy to make sure that no bad habits were developed along the way, so we can get you back to healthy singing and voicing free of injury. Now, if voice therapy is not working and the blood is not being resolved, then your physician may recommend surgery. There's some great sites online that you can look and see what are the various surgical options, but that's something that you'd ultimately discuss with your doctor. So I really want you to take care of your voice by getting to know your voice. You want to do those light glides on a daily basis to see what's your range like. And that way you can use that as one measure to compare against. Then avoid any situations where you have to do super loud talking, or if you have to work through a cold without having solid skills for how to develop a resonant voice. So that's why I encourage people to come in for lessons even when they are sick, so I can help them work through that. And then finally, you want to have a relationship with an ENT that, God forbid, something does happen, you can get in right away and you already feel safe with that person, because it is a huge decision and it's of what to do, and you want to feel like you can work with someone who you know can care about you. I encourage lots of questions, so please feel free to comment in the sections below. If you enjoyed this video, I encourage you to share it with some friends and family who may benefit from it, and share it around the world. And I look forward to seeing you all next week. In this edition, we're talking about vocal hemorrhage.